That cry was not part of the stage, nor was it a promotional strategy polished by an agency. It was born in silence, from a man named Kim Seokjin, better known to the world as Jin BTS, who wrote a simple letter to his fans, ARMY. The question is, why would a global superstar, accustomed to being praised by millions, cry while stringing words together for them? What lies behind the tears that stain the paper? The answer is not as simple as an emotional letter. Jin's tears are a reflection of the long journey of an artist who, for years, has carried the title worldwide handsome, yet in his heart is still often haunted by the question, do I really deserve to be loved this much? When a simple sentence, I feel like I don't deserve all this love, was written in black ink on a piece of paper, the world suddenly stopped. ARMY didn't just read the words, they felt the pulse of anxiety behind them. Surprisingly, the tears were born not when Jin was under the spotlight, but when he was alone with his own thoughts. In a K-pop tradition full of perfect choreography, such a sincere letter feels like an anomaly. No filters, no marketing strategies, just the raw honesty of a human being who happens to hold the status of an international star. And therein lies the power of the emotion. The world witnessed Jin not as an idol, but as Seokjin, a man who is afraid of not being enough, even though he has given everything. The fact that the letter was written in the middle of a solo tour adds another layer of drama. Jin, who for years performed with his 6 colleagues, now stands alone. Doubts arise. Do the audience come because of BTS or really because of him? That is the dilemma that finally dripped into tears. The letter he wrote was not just a thank you, but a window into his heart, an admission that he is still seeking proof of the love given to him. ARMY's response actually reinforced this paradox. Instead of comforting with ordinary words, they responded with a wave of global solidarity. You deserve it, Jin. The hashtag you deserve it, Jin went global in minutes. For an artist who admits he is unsure of his worthiness to be loved, it was the loudest and gentlest answer. He wrote because he was afraid of not being enough, but instead found evidence that he was more than enough. Jin's tears while writing the letter can be understood as a symbol of the clash between two realities, the reality of the stage full of cheers, and the personal reality full of doubts. He cried not because of weakness, but because of the courage to write down his fears in front of millions of people. In an industry that often demands perfection, that courage is a small revolution. It doesn't stop there. Jin's tears also reflect the unique dynamics of BTS's relationship with ARMY. This relationship is no longer just an artist and fan. It has evolved into a kind of emotional symbiosis. Jin feels loved too much, while ARMY feels that Jin was the first to save them with his music, laughter, and sincerity. The letter became a turning point, an honest confession that brought together two feelings of considering each other not enough, then exploded into an unbreakable circle of love. When the last concert of his solo tour took place, the atmosphere became clearer. Jin brought the same letter on stage, and his tears fell again when he saw thousands of banners with a simple message: you deserve it. Imagine that position, a world star who could easily cover his emotions with camera spotlights, instead chose to show his vulnerability in front of tens of thousands of pairs of eyes. That is why the moment is considered monumental. He is not just singing, but conveying to the world that true love is not born from perfection, but from honesty. Jin's tears while writing the letter were not a sign of despair, but a healing process. He is making peace with his old fear that he might only be a part of BTS, not enough as an individual. However, the letter, ARMY's response, and every tear that fell proved otherwise. That night, on stage and on paper, Jin found the answer he had been looking for years, that the love given to him was not an illusion, but a reality. And perhaps, precisely because he cried while writing it, the letter became more than just writing. It became proof that even a global superstar can be fragile, can be afraid, can cry. And therein lies Jin's strength, not because he is always strong, but because he dares to admit when he feels weak. In the end, the question, why did Jin BTS cry while writing a letter to ARMY, can only be answered with one sentence. Because for the first time, he dared to write down the truth that scared him the most, that he didn't know if he deserved to be loved that much. And the response from millions of hearts around the world was, "You deserve it. You always deserve it." Jin BTS's tears while writing a letter to ARMY have become the world's attention. But let's stop for a moment and ask honestly, do we really believe that this event happened exactly as reported? Or is this just part of a media narrative designed to evoke mass sympathy? This question is important because in the era of social media, the line between reality and construction is often blurred. Did Jin really shed tears behind his letter, or is that just an emotional interpretation exaggerated by fans? How can we be sure when the main sources come from TikTok video clips, YouTube snippets, Twitter posts, and online articles that sometimes prioritize clicks over accuracy? If true, then the tears are a window into the heart of a superstar. But if false, are we trapped in a digital drama created to multiply public attention? Another question to ponder. Does an artist as big as Jin really have the freedom to share his vulnerabilities without going through a curation process from the agency? Or has the letter, though seemingly sincere, actually gone through stages of approval, editing, and even impact calculation? If so, can the tears we are talking about still be called authentic? Or is it part of a very neat communication strategy? ARMY around the world did respond with unconditional love. They raised banners, uploaded messages, and created global hashtags. But have we ever asked, was that reaction born purely from the heart, or partly because of a collective urge to maintain BTS's image in the global arena? Are we crying with Jin because we really understand his heart, or because we are directed to feel certain emotions through a media-polished narrative? This is where important reflection begins. If the letter really came from Jin's deepest doubts, then the world has witnessed a rare moment, a superstar tearing down the wall between himself and the public. But if not, are we watching a show bigger than any concert, an invisible drama, where truth and fiction merge for the sake of the industry? We must also ask, why is this story so easy to believe? Is it because we are already used to seeing Jin as a sincere and empathetic figure? Or is it because we, as an audience, really want to believe that our idol is human, not just an entertainment machine? If so, doesn't this reflect our own emotional needs to find honesty in the midst of an entertainment world that is often full of falsehood? Let's push ourselves further. Do the tears really belong to Jin, or to us projected onto him? Is the media really reporting facts, or just providing a mirror that reflects what we want to see? If the latter is true, then this story speaks more about the public's needs than Jin's own reality, and therein lies the danger and beauty of this narrative. Danger, because we potentially consume stories that are not necessarily true, then treat them as absolute facts. Beauty, because the narrative is able to unite millions of people in the same emotional experience, even though the basis may still be vague.so. Before we re-upload hashtags or write sweet words, let's ask a simple question. Are we talking about reality, or just about a version of reality that has been curated by the media? Did Jin's tears really fall on paper, or did they fall in our collective imagination? And if it's imagination, does that make this story less meaningful? Or is it even stronger because it managed to touch the hearts of millions of people even though the truth has not been fully verified?